Hi everyone, Amanda here with another Funfold Friday card, and this time we're doing Z-fold cards. So these two are the Z, and then there's another one that I'm going to show you here that's more of a masculine take on a Z-fold card, and then we'll have a double Z-fold card as well. So we're going to learn how to do these cards and just show how different paper packs can really change the look of the same fold. And this is the double Z that I did with the Wander papers. So I have these instructions that are written on the bottom of my page here on my blog, and I make little samples for my book so that I can remember which fold, which scoring for 1, 2, and 3 options, because there are multiple options for how to score these, go with which, how the card will look. So your bases on these cards are all 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm cutting those first. And then you're going to see for the first card, I score it at 3 3/8 and 5.5. And I forget to mark on it that this is number 1 versus number 2, because number 2 is really only about a 1/2 inch difference as far as where you score it. So just to keep those clear, so I'm talking about the right card base, I go back and mark these as 1, 2, and 3. So this is number 2 that I score at 2 3/4 by 4 7/8. And this is where I'm just making sure that the one I scored was number 2 and the first one that I scored is number 1. So that's what I'm writing on here. The last card is the one that's kind of very different in that it only has a small 1 1/4 inch score and then 4 1/4. And those are kind of fun in that it just has a really small front of your card. And here's another option that's not in the instructions, but just take a basic fold card and you just take the front half and fold it back onto itself. So these are the leftover pieces from my lovely paper pack. All the circles that I cut was for a scrapbook layout that I did, and I will link that video here in the upper left corner in case you are also a scrapbooker and want to see the lovely papers on a scrapbook layout. And I'm just going through these Picture My Life cards, and they're different on both sides, and I really like this bouquet, so I'm going to grab that. And then these pieces that you see in my hand are all leftover pieces from our July club card. They were kind of the scraps after I cut the pieces to mail out to everybody. And if you're interested in learning more about our club cards, you can go to my blog, craftingwithamanda.com, and you can sign up for a 1 month or a 12-month or however many month subscription, and I send the card pieces that you need. You need your own base supplies. Like normally the card base you'll need to supply, so just a basic white cardstock, some adhesive, some stamps, things of that nature. But I send you all the cuts and the instructions, and then I create a video walking you through how to make the cards. So if you're interested in that, go ahead. So I'm just using these scraps that were left over from the July club card, and I'm going to cut this Picture My Life card down just because I like bringing it in, like having it a really tight focus on the bouquet of flowers itself. And I don't make all of the cards that I've shown you here, walk you through how to make all of them. If you have questions, obviously ask. I'd be happy to help. But for the most part, I think people know how to embellish and what their own style is for creating the front of the card. So I'm just kind of giving you the base mechanics of the Funfold card, and then you get to create and embellish and have fun using your own style and what you have on hand. I love inking the edges of the papers. Just it softens the look. In different ways, you can either take the ink directly to the paper and kind of scrape it across the top of the pad, or you can use the mini blending tool like I was doing there. So here we have the card base is coming together, and now I'm going to show that you glue your sentiment piece, I'll call it, just on half of it. So I'm going to audition some of the Isabella stamp flowers that I cut with the thin cut. They have a matching thin cut that goes with it, and I colored it with markers. So I'm auditioning some of those to see where I want to put them. And I pulled out some old pearls from my stash, and you'll see here that you're only going to put glue on half of that sentiment piece so that it doesn't glue your card shut and it just adheres to the top part of the card. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I have all of these stamped sentiments that I've created. Sometimes when I just don't have mojo or am winding down or my brain can't hurt, I'll just get out my sentiment stamps and my Misty and just go about stamping a bunch of sentiments to be used. It's kind of nice. It speeds the process along. So this card is almost done. I'm just going to apply some of these old pearls that I have, and there's plenty of room for writing on the inside. So now I'm going to go to the double Z fold, and this is one that you score your base again, or you cut your base at 8.5 by 5.5, and then you score at 2 1/8 by 4 1/4, and then whatever sized piece, whatever color piece that you want, you're going to cut it down to 7.5 inches long, and you're going to score that at 3 1/4 and 5 3/8. So that's what we have here. I'm just going to reinforce my folds and move on to the next step. And this time I'm going to use the Wander papers, and this is going to give it more of a masculine feel. And I believe I already mailed this card out to somebody. I think I sent it to a nephew as a birthday gift, so I don't have the photography photos to show at the end. I'm cutting the inside base at 4 1/4 by 5.5 because it's just a standard inside base, because we cut the bottom, or we scored the bottom at 4 1/4. And I'm just putting some pieces on, and I changed my top Z fold to this piece of glacier cardstock that was just in my leftovers with the paper pack. And again, just cut that down to 7.5 inches long. I'm not sure how tall it is, but I scored it at 3 1/4 and 5 3/8. And the importance of that is it just allows the height of the Z fold for both the top card and the bottom card to match, so that you can fold them together and they close correctly. Now I'm just inking my edges, kind of hiding the white of the card base. Going to ink around the top Z part of this card as well, and I'm going to do all the folds because I really like it. Just gives it definition. I don't know, I sometimes think that for masculine cards especially, kind of having dirty edges just rough it up a little bit. And these are cuts that I had from my Cricut, I'm going to guess from the You Are Here cartridge, and they happen to be in the perfect colors to go with this Wander paper. So I went through my stash and pulled it out. Some of these things that you see in here are from the Wander scrapbooking kit, and I just combine them all together and keep them together as I work through this paper kit and make some projects. So you'll notice on that you only put glue where it's going to overlap on that top piece, because again, you don't want to glue your mechanism together. Now I am using the stamp set that I kind of thought was all just girly and flowers. It's the At the Lake stamp set, and it has, again, the matching thin cuts, but it has this fishing reel that I love. It has lake life. It also has a scrolly Keep It Reel, REEL, which is fun. It has a lake sign and a fish. So I'm going to stamp the fish here. And I did some rock and roll inking where I inked it in the lightest color and then kind of rolled parts of the outline of the fish in the green and then the peacock blue. And then I just took the avocado shimmer brush and I diluted it down with a little bit of rubbing alcohol on my nonstick mat here and picked up the colors and then just colored in the fish. And here I'm just using some of the embellishments from the scrapbook workshop and trying to decide where I want them. I'm grabbing some of these trees that I cut. So here's the final card. I really like how it turned out. Like I said, it already got mailed for a birthday card. Here's another look at the first Z fold cards. And again, this uses the Lovely paper pack, which is in our core book. And there's lots of room to write your sentiments on the inside, but not so much room that you feel like you have to compose a full note, which I kind of like sometimes. You're just sending a smile. And this, like I said, is a lot of fun because it's a different form of a Z fold card. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to join us. And then here's another scrapbook or another video. It could be scrapbook or card that you might be interested in. Have a blessed day. Thank you.